Well, there's breaking news coming in from the Supreme Court at the moment. We were expecting a verdict as far as Bulldozer justice was concerned. Well, the top court has just given out a stern message to states. The Supreme Court has categorically said that the abuse of power is unacceptable. The Supreme Court has said the law is the foundation of democracy, further adding that there should be no excessive measures by states. The top court categorically saying that states have to ensure non-arbitrary action and that the law is the foundation of the democracy. The Supreme Court has delivered this verdict on pleas seeking to stop authorities' bulldozer action against accused persons as a punitive measure. In fact, the top court was expected to decide on framing pan-India guidelines to prevent the illegal demolition of homes as well as other properties. I must inform you, back on the 1st of October, the court had extended its interim order, asking authorities to stop demolition drives until further orders were received. But the interim order did not apply to unauthorized constructions, including religious structures on roads or footpaths. Earlier, the court had also remarked that public safety is paramount and no religious structure, be it a temple, a dargah or a gurudwara in the middle of the road, can obstruct the public. Also, during the hearings, the court had observed that being an accused or convicted of a crime was no grounds for authorities to actually initiate bulldozer action against homes and shops. I must inform you that the Supreme Court has now categorically said in a stern message to states that the abuse of power is absolutely unacceptable. The top court has further added that there will be no excessive measures undertaken by states and that the law is the foundation of the democracy and states have to ensure non-arbitrary action. In fact, petitioners had expressed alarm that bulldozer action is becoming an extra legal punishment by the state as well as marginalized communities. They were being extremely victimized. I also must inform you that Justice Gawai had earlier clearly said that we are a secular country. Whatever we lay down, we have to lay down for all citizens. He had added that there cannot be a particular law for a particular religion, and unauthorized constructions belonging to members of any community have to go no matter their religion or faith. But a stern message coming in from the Supreme Court currently saying that the issue is of fairness in justice. The Supreme Court saying that states have to ensure that there's non-arbitrary action taken. Alok Pandey joins us over the phone line at the moment. Alok, take us through the key takeaways as far as the top court is concerned and the stern message to states that's just been released.
It's a very stern message, Parmeshwar. You are right. In fact, as we speak, the judgment is still being read out. But I think the court, by what it has said right now, has made it clear that arbitrary demolition of houses of accused is not going to be accepted. And they have in no uncertain terms said that this is a violation of the Constitution and the violation of the law. A two-judge bench of the Supreme Court, like I said, is reading out the verdict right now. But like I said, even till this moment, they have said that you cannot go and demolish somebody's house just because that person is an accused. They have said that officials cannot take law into their own hands. The homes cannot be demolished arbitrarily. The state cannot take excessive measures. This is important. You see, what the Supreme Court is saying that, instead of going and raising homes with bulldozers, it is the state's responsibility to ensure non-arbitrary action. They are saying that at the end of the day, if you abuse power, then the law cannot spare you. The court of law is not going to spare you. Another very important observation or part of the judgment or the order by the court is that, see, the executive cannot declare a person guilty. That is a matter of the courts. I mean, if I am an accused in a legal case, it is not the government who can come to me and say that you are guilty, I am going to demolish your house. Now, as a reporter who has covered this on the ground, I can tell you that there are times, for instance, I covered a house demolition in Prayagraj. If you remember, there were these protests when, one person was declared, guilty on social media or whatever you may want to call it, and then you had a situation where the authorities pasted some notice and said that your house violates some conditions, and they brought down a whole bungalow. Now, again, this as per the Supreme Court, would qualify as an excess, and they are saying that it is the state's responsibility to actually ensure that these excesses do not take place. That's what they are saying. So I think the order is very clear that you cannot do this, and that the right to shelter is a fundamental right, and that at the end of the day, you have to ensure that legal processes are followed if you are doing something like this. Again, for instance, just now what Justice Gawai has said, that when a particular structure is chosen for demolition all of a sudden and other similar properties are not being touched, then the presumption is that the real motive is not the structure, but the act of penalizing without a trial. Now, you can extrapolate this to many demolitions that we've actually covered on the ground, and not just me. Our colleagues across bureaus in India have covered actions where you have one particular bungalow or a house that is taken down, while you have homes next door that are perhaps carrying out the same violations that are not. So again, the Supreme Court has taken note of that and said that, you have to satisfy, authorities have to satisfy that demolition was the only option, and that you could not have lived with, say, taking down only a part of the house. Right. That is something that they are saying, and that appears to be very, very important.
Alok, as always, thank you so much for taking us through the details coming in from the Supreme Court as they read out that verdict. As my colleague Alok Pandey is reporting, the Supreme Court has clearly, in a stern message to states, said the executive cannot replace the judiciary and legal process should not prejudge the guilt of an accused. These are the words of the Supreme Court, taking a tough stand on the issue of bulldozer justice. The Supreme Court has clearly said arbitrary demolition of houses will not be accepted, and the right to shelter is a fundamental right. In fact, petitioners had expressed alarm that bulldozer action is becoming an extra legal punishment by the state, and marginalized communities are increasingly victimized.